headlines. We begin with rising tensions in South America. Venezuela's defense chief warns against U.S. aggression as Washington increases its military presence in the Caribbean. In the Middle East, displaced Palestinians in Gaza continue to struggle for food aid, describing the dangers they face each day just to survive. Meanwhile, in Europe, the Kremlin clarifies there is still no agreement between Presidents Putin and Trump on possible talks involving Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky. Here at home, controversial contractor Cesara Discaya admits owning 9 construction companies under probe for alleged ghost projects. On the global stage, leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet in Tianjin ahead of the group's 25th summit. Back in Manila, Budget Secretary Amenah Pangandaman raises alarm over alleged insertions in the proposed 2026 national budget, with President Marcos vowing to clean it up. Over in Panama, the arrival of another U.S. warship sparks concern among residents, recalling memories of past conflict. And in Iraq, a rare discovery surfaces as a 5,000-year-old city re-emerges after decades underwater in Mosul Dam. I'm Faith Agustin. Newsline World starts now. Residents in Panama City voiced unease on Sunday after another U.S. Navy vessel docked at Amador Port, drawing parallels with 1989 invasion and warning against possible military action in Venezuela. Jane Cognita has more.
The USS Samson, a guided missile destroyer, was seen moored at the Pacific entrance of the Panama Canal before resuming its journey toward the Caribbean. Drone shots captured a ship docked at the port, a stop reportedly for refueling. Locals expressed concern over the presence of U.S. military ships, recalling painful memories of past conflict.
Y pueden suceder en esa guerra muchas cosas, man. Y lo que va a morir son pura gente que no tienen que ver nada con esta guerra. Como aquí murieron mucha gente que eso aquí no.
Panamanian authorities have not issued an official statement regarding the ship's arrival, though the government has permitted U.S. naval passage through the canal. Among those worried is Jorge Cabrera, a Venezuelan migrant who has lived in Panama for 10 years.
No creo que la invasión sea lo más. Pienso que hay que agotar otras instancias antes de llegar a la invasión. Porque todos sabemos y tenemos la experiencia, sobre todo acá en Panamá, ¿verdad? Que tuvimos la cuestión de la invasión que hubo en el año 89 y sabemos lo traumático que fue esa invasión. No queremos que Venezuela pase por esa misma situación.
The USS Samson's stop follows the recent transit of another U.S. warship, the USS Lake Erie, which Washington says is part of anti-narcotics operations. 3 guided missile ships are expected to move into international waters off Venezuela as tensions with President Nicolas Maduro's government intensify. Washington has accused Maduro of leading the so-called Cartel of the Suns, doubling its reward for his capture to $50 million. Some South American nations, including Argentina, Ecuador, and Paraguay, have backed the U.S. stance, further raising regional tensions. This has been Jane Cognita, your citizen correspondent for God and my beloved country, the Philippines.
The government says it has finally settled the last of its health emergency allowance obligations. The Department of Budget and Management has released more than 6.7 billion pesos to cover benefits for health and non-healthcare workers nationwide. DBM Secretary Amenah Pangandaman says the new release will cover more than 1.4 million claims filed between 2021 and 2023. These claims came from local governments, private hospitals, universities, and other institutions across the country. In 2024, the DBM had already released more than 121 billion pesos to settle the public health emergency benefits and allowances, including other forms of support for eligible workers. Earlier this year, in February 2025, the Department of Health presented an updated funding request amounting to more than 6 billion pesos during the monthly economic managers meeting. Controversial contractor Cesara Discaya appeared before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, revealing she is linked to 9 construction firms under investigation for alleged ghost flood control projects. Troy Gomez reports.
During the hearing, Senator Jinggoy Estrada presented a list of companies allegedly owned by Discaya, from St. Gerard and St. Timothy to Alpha and Omega General Contractor and Waymaker OPC.
It is common knowledge that you own 9 companies, namely St. Gerard, St. Timothy, Alpha and Omega, Elite General Contractor and Development Corporation, St. Matthew, Great Pacific Builders, YPR General Contractor, Amethyst Horizon Builders, and Waymaker OPC. Am I correct?
Yes po.
Discaya said she had divested from most of the companies except Alpha and Omega, but Committee Chair Senator Rodante Marcoleta pointed out that her influence remained, as many of her replacements were relatives or former employees.
Nung mag-divest kayo, sino yung taong doon nyo i-divest po ang inyong interest sa korporasyon?
Katulad sa St. Timothy, kay Maria Roma ko binigay po yung aking
Sino siya?
shares.
Kamag-anak mo?
She's the niece of my husband.
Kamag-anak mo pa rin. Kayo pa rin. Kayo pa rin yan.
Also, data presented by Senator Joel Villanueva showed that from 2022 to 2025, 31 billion peso worth of flood control projects went to companies linked to Discaya. Discaya, however, denied that her family's wealth came solely from Department of Public Works and Highways projects.
We have been in the construction business for 23 years. So I would presume that in the 23 years, pwede naman siguro kami po kumita.
Discaya ran for mayor of Pasig in May 2025. Malacanang records indicate that firms connected to her are among 15 contractors allegedly cornering 100 billion peso or 20% of the 545 billion peso flood control budget. Reporting for Newsline World, Troy Gomez.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has accepted the resignation of Public Works and Highways Secretary Manuel Bonoan amid allegations of irregularities in flood control projects and immediately appointed Vince Dizon as his replacement. Jason Rubrico files this report.
Vince Dizon has formally taken his oath as the new Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways, replacing Manuel Bonoan, who stepped down following corruption allegations tied to flood control projects. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has accepted the resignation of Bonoan.
Well, the reason, I think it was Secretary Bonoan who said that he took responsibility because it was under all of these things happened, all of these problems happened under his watch. So, under the principle of command responsibility, he felt that he should leave his post. So.
President Marcos emphasized that Dizon was chosen because of his notable performance in the Department of Transportation and familiarity with DPWH projects.
He's done a very good job sa DOTR, and I think he's already set the stage for all of the things that we need to do. So pwede na niyang iwanan and go to Public Works because he's also familiar with the workings of the Department of Public Works and Highways.
Meanwhile, the President has ordered the creation of an independent commission to lead the investigation into questionable flood control projects.
We are putting together the EO that will create the independent commission. The independent commission will be the investigative arm. so that they will continue to investigate whatever information is received. It will be sent to them. They will investigate it, and they will make recommendations as to how to proceed, whether kasuhan itong mga ito or ombudsman o dalhin sa DOJ, whatever it is.
The president further disclosed that even the 2026 budget contains questionable insertions.
They will recommend to the executive what to do with certain parties who have been found to be part of all of this corruption that's been going on, not only in flood control but all of the works of the workings within DPWH. Kasi unfortunately, the more we look, the more we find. Kahit sa 2026 budget, marami pa rin siningit. So talagang it really needs to be cleaned out properly.
While discussions are still underway regarding who will head the commission, the president assured that it will be composed of justices, prosecutors, lawyers, and forensic investigators to ensure a thorough and impartial probe.
Depends on how it's structured. 5 members ba? 7 members? Sino mag-head? Sinong chair? All of those things. So we haven't put the structure together yet. But the names, I think, it will be. We need forensic investigators. We need, of course, lawyers, justices, prosecutors who will look at the evidence and look at the information that we have, and they will put together that information and make the recommendation to either DOJ or the ombudsman, depending on who is found to be liable for some of these nefarious activities.
For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SM9 News.
Up next, Venezuela's defense chief warns against U.S. aggression as Washington increases its military presence in the Caribbean. And in Europe, the Kremlin clarifies there is still no agreement between Presidents Putin and Trump on possible talks involving Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
are innocent, you're not afraid. Why? The Word of God says, there is no fear in love. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. But when you're innocent, all that you have is the love and compassion. People can do anything they want to do to you, but you remain unmoved. You remain to be penetrating. You remain, even in your silence, it goes deep into the heart to tell you about the silence of innocence, and the innocence of silence will penetrate deep into your heart. And when you do something like that against anyone who is innocent, your conscience will bother you until you die. When you do something to a good man, to an innocent man, and you know that he is good, and you know that his intention for humanity is only good, your conscience will not let you sleep. Your conscience will bother you. Your conscience will be your enemy while you live.
The Kremlin is downplaying reports of a breakthrough in U.S.-Russia diplomacy. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov says Presidents Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump have not reached a deal for talks with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky or on holding a three-way summit. Ushakov spoke on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China. He confirmed that Putin and Trump discussed upgrading the level of negotiating teams for direct talks between Moscow and Kiev, but stressed that nothing has been finalized. Ushakov added that while Washington promised specific proposals after the Alaska talks, none have been made. According to him, the Ukraine conflict also featured prominently in Putin's meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, though details were not disclosed.
How to receive God's favor. So, for us, in order to receive the favor of God, we must avoid a holier-than-thou attitude. Importante sa harap ng ating Panginoon na tayo ay may kababaan ng loob na huwag nating tingnan at mapagmataas tayo sa ating mga sarili. Isaiah chapter 57 verse 15. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. Bilang mga anak ng Diyos na tunay, upang tayo ay kasihan ng kanyang pabor, kailangan tayo ay hindi lamang mapagpakumbaba, kundi tayo ay mapagpatawad. If you want to seek the favor of God, be forgiving in your heart, so that when you pray and lift up holy hands to heaven, the Lord of heaven will also forgive your trespasses. May pabor ka na sa Diyos pagka ikaw ay dumadalangin na pinatawad mo ang kasalanan ng iba. In order to receive the favor of God, we must be humble. We must be forgiving. And we should not judge. And then, if you want to have favor with God, you must love God and obey God's words at all times. Ang aklat na ito ng kautusan ay huwag mahihiwalay sa iyong bibig, kundi iyong pagbubulayan araw at gabi, upang iyong masunod na gawin ang ayon sa lahat ng nakasulat dito, sapagkat kung magkagayoy iyong pagiginhawain ang iyong lakad, at kung magkagayoy magtatamo ka ng mabuting kawakasan. Magkakaroon ka ng pabor sa harap ng ating Panginoon. Mahalin ang kanyang mga banal na salita, ipamuhay ang kanyang banal na salita, sundin ang kanyang banal na salita, huwag hihiwalay ang kanyang banal na salita sa ating bibig araw at gabi. Pagbubulayan natin yan araw at gabi. Bago kayo magtrabaho sa umaga, pagkagising ninyo, kumuha muna kayo ng mga salita ng Diyos. Magbasa kayo, mag-devotional kayo, basahin ang salita ng Diyos, mahalin ang salita ng Diyos. Huwag ilagay ang Biblia at patungan ng anumang klaseng libro. Kailangan yan ay nasa ibabaw ng lahat ng libro.
In Gaza, displaced Palestinians say they risk death every day just to collect food. At the Zikim crossing, families describe the desperate search for aid as a heart of death amid worsening shortages and mounting desperation. Let's find out from Prince Tripoli.
Footage from Monday shows families crowding onto trailers and carrying bags of flour from Zikim crossing. One displaced man, Bassam al-Saidi, said people face death countless times each day. He explained that even if they manage to survive Israeli attacks, they still risk being stopped by speeding trucks or assaulted by robbers with knives who stole their aid. Another, Muhammad Hajj, described the crossing as the heart of death, saying families were exhausted, forced to come there in desperation to find food for their children, with little hope for their future.
أنا محمد حجاج سكان قطاع غزة الشمال. إحنا فعليا بنعيش بمعاناة، رغم اللي بقول لك إنه موجودين ندخلوا مساعدات ودخلوا طحين ودخلوا كل شيء، لكن فيش عدم شغل. اليوم أنت بتروح تسحب حالك تيجي في قلب الموت، في قلب الخطر، عازقين عشان تأمن لقمة عيش لأولادك. إحنا هان فعليا تعبنا، محدش حاسس فينا، محدش بيطلع علينا. الأطفال تعبوا ضاعوا مستقبلهم، دورنا راحت، كل حاجة. إحنا بنحط حالنا في الموت، قاعدين نطلع بدري على أساس قبل إطلاق النار تيجي المقاطير بنروح، ما بالك مزاحمة العباد اللي بدها تجي أمن لقمة عيش لأولادها.
According to the United Nations Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, Gaza City is now at Phase 5, the highest level of food insecurity, with 500,000 people facing starvation, destitution, and death. Israel has rejected the UN findings, dismissing them as based on false claims from Hamas, and accused the International Committee of the Red Cross of ignoring its own standards, a charge the ICRC has denied. The war began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Since then, Gaza's health ministry says over 63,000 Palestinians have been killed in Israel's military response. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, your citizen correspondent.
Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman is voicing deep frustration over alleged insertions in the proposed 2026 national budget, a controversy now confirmed by the President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself. Cresilyn Catarong tells us more.
After months of scrutiny and careful planning, the Department of Budget and Management said questionable projects still slipped into the 6.793 trillion pesos budget plan for 2026. Some lawmakers in the House of Representatives had earlier flagged the issue, claiming that certain district proposed projects had disappeared from the budget, while previously completed projects were allocated funding again. Because of this, Pangandaman stressed that the frustration within the DBM is twice or even 3 times greater given the effort they poured into crafting the budget. She emphasized the extensive preparation and coordination involved, saying the agency spent 6 months developing the proposal.
Pare-pareho kami na nararamdaman. Siguro nakita nyo naman yung interview, di ba, ni Kong Ronnie Puno. Kung naiinis siya, mas naiinis po kami sa nangyayari.
Earlier on Monday, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. confirmed in an ambush interview that they had discovered inserted projects in the proposed 2026 budget.
Unfortunately, the more we look, the more we find. Kahit sa 2026 budget, marami pa rin siningit. So, talagang it really needs to be cleaned out properly.
Meanwhile, Malacanang also said on Monday that it would coordinate with Congress to address and remove any questionable insertions in the NEP.
Most probably, ang sinasabi ng Pangulo dito ay yung nadinig na nga po patungkol na sa sinasabi na ni Representative Marcy at Representative Puno. Kung ito po ay talagang nasabing na isingit at hindi ito papayagan ng Pangulo. Kaya aaralin po at mas maganda po yung mga nagrereklamo at nakaalam ay i-coordinate po talaga sa DPWH.
In light of the issue, Secretary Pangandaman remains hopeful that it can be addressed under the new leadership of the Department of Public Works and Highways led by Secretary Vince Dizon.
Of course, wala sa mandato namin i-check isa-isa yung mga proyekto ng DPWH kung ano yung mga nandoon. But we welcome, at least ngayon, may bagong leadership ng DPWH.
She added that she has already spoken with Secretary Dizon regarding questionable flood control projects.
Isa-isahin namin yan, papatingnan namin lahat yan kung saan ang gagaling yung mga proyekto na substandard, goals, nadodoble, gawa na, tapos nakalagay pa siya, di ba? So, yun yung amin. So, we will do our best to check and then moving forward to ensure na hindi na to ulit mangyari.
However, Pangandaman clarified that they still do not know who was behind the alleged insertions. It will be recalled that the issue of blank items, referring to vague fund allocations and unclear provisions in the bicameral conference committee report, became a controversial topic in 2025 national budget. Several appropriations were flagged due to lack of detail on where and how the funds would be used. For God and for my beloved country, the Philippines. This has been Cresceline Catarong, SMNI News.
A city lost to the waters for nearly 4 decades has re-emerged in northern Iraq. In Dahok province, a dramatic drop in Mosul Dam water levels has uncovered the remains of an ancient civilization, offering a rare glimpse into more than 5,000 years of human history. This report. Footage from the site shows archaeologists carefully brushing away centuries of sediment, revealing ceramic coffins and remarkably preserved human skeletons. Each discovery tells a story of life long before modern Iraq existed. Bekes Brifkani, head of the Duhok Antiquities Department, shared details of the excavation.
In هذه السنة قبل حوالي 15 يوما انخفض مستوى المياه مرة أخرى بالأخص في هذا الموقع فظهرت التوابيت أو القبور الفخارية ونحن طلبنا من محافظ دهوك تخصيص مبلغ لنتمكن من إنقاذ هذه القبور وبالفعل بدأنا بأعمال التنقيبات قبل حوالي 10 أيام. خلال هذه الفترة تمكنا من العثور على 40 تابوتا فخاريا مصنوعا من الفخار التي تعود تاريخها إلى حوالي 2300 سنة وتعود إلى العصر الهلينستي السلوقي 300 سنة قبل الميلاد.
But these coffins are only the most recent layer in a site that has seen countless generations. Brifkani added that the site contains traces of several historical eras, the oldest linked to the Ninevite V period around 2900 BC, showing that the area has been continuously inhabited for more than 5,000 years. The site was first submerged in 1986 following the construction of the Mosul Dam and has only resurfaced this year due to a significant drop in water levels. Officials say excavations will continue in the coming weeks to protect and preserve the newly uncovered artifacts. For centuries, the story of this city was lost beneath the dam. Now it resurfaces not just as artifacts, but as a testament to the resilience and continuity of human history. This is Faith Agustin, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod. Pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop, kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen. Magbasa. Makipagkwentuhan. Magdasal. Maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
The heads of state of Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO member countries met in Tianjin on Monday ahead of the group's 25th summit. Almar Forzuelo has the story.
Leaders from China, Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Iran, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, along with the prime ministers of India and Pakistan, took part in the meeting. SCO Secretary General Nurlan Yermekbayev and Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure Executive Committee Director Ularbek Sharshiv also addressed the gathering. Chinese President Xi Jinping said countries across the Eurasian continent have shared knowledge and culture for centuries, enriching one another. He urged member states to build on this legacy through cultural exchanges, economic cooperation, and the pursuit of a leading civilization founded on shared prosperity, beauty, and harmony.
亚欧大陆孕育了古老文明，引领过东西交融，推动着人类进步。各国人民自古互通有无，取长补短。上海合作组织成员国要在人文交流中相知相亲，在经济合作中鼎力支持，携手打造利己达人、美美与共、和和共生的文明百花园。
The 25th Council of Heads of State of the SCO, chaired by Xi, is underway in Tianjin from August 31 to September 1. It is the largest in the organization's history, with leaders from 10 member states, 14 dialogue partners, 2 observer countries, and international organizations in attendance. The agenda covers economic cooperation and technology, innovation, and artificial intelligence, as well as regional security and sustainable development. For God, my beloved Philippines, Almar Forzuelo, SMNI News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra met in China, underscoring closer ties between their nations as India faces escalating trade tensions with the United States. The high-profile meeting took place on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin, where the two leaders discussed regional security, trade, and energy cooperation. Russian media reports say they even shared a private hour-long conversation inside a Russian-made limousine before the formal meeting. The talks came shortly after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed an additional 25% tariff on Indian imports, raising total duties to 50% in retaliation for India's continued oil deals with Moscow. Washington maintains these purchases help fund Russia's war in Ukraine. Analysts warn, however, that such U.S. pressure may instead push India closer to Russia and China. According to Kremlin officials, Putin is set to visit New Delhi this December for the 23rd Annual India-Russia Summit, signaling that the partnership is poised to deepen further. On Sunday, tragedy in Afghanistan where a powerful earthquake has left entire villages in ruins, killing more than 800 people and injuring thousands. Carlo de la Peña for the rest of the details.
The 6.1 magnitude quake struck just before midnight Sunday, shaking Kunar province with devastating force. The worst hit districts, Nurgal, Suki, Watapur, and Chapadara saw homes reduced to rubble and families buried beneath the debris. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake hit at around 11:47 p.m. local time. Survivors say the destruction is overwhelming, with hundreds still missing and whole communities wiped out.
رخیم زمانم زدران د ودی د غزی آباد د لوی مرکزی کلیم او د شپې 12 بجې د 11 تاریخ د سمبولیټ د دوشنبه شپه او د شپې سخت زلزلہ وشوله او تقریبا چې یو 200 زخمیان منګه انتقال کړل البته په تیارو کې او 3.5 شهیدان د خاور لاندې پراته دي او ټول کورونه ویجاړ دي او زمونږ د منطقي د ځان له نورګل د ولسوالۍ یارید شماش سویل دره پمن دره او د ودیرو مرکزی کلی مسعود او لودلام او مزار دا ټول د زلزلې والدي او خراب کړي دي.
Around 200 injured residents were airlifted to hospitals in Jalalabad, while an estimated 300 to 350 people remain trapped under the rubble. He adds that their homes and entire villages across the Nurgal district were completely destroyed. Authorities say rescue efforts are being hampered by the region's rugged, mountainous terrain. However, response units from various relief agencies have now been deployed to accelerate search and rescue operations and deliver emergency aid to those affected. Officials fear the death toll could climb even higher as rescue teams dig through the rubble searching for survivors in what's being called one of Afghanistan's deadliest earthquakes in years. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
Soccer can inspire more than just goals on the field. It can change lives off of it. That's exactly what a Washington Spirit forward star player did for one young fan who says the experience reignited her love for the game. Joy Tabanao tells us more.
16-year-old Jenna Friedman thought she was simply getting an Uber ride to a Washington Spirit match. But when the car pulled up, the driver was none other than her favorite player, soccer star Trinity Rodman. Jenna, a soccer player herself, admitted that she once considered walking away from the sport. But she says Rodman's skill, determination, and inspiring presence on the field gave her the push to keep going. Rodman didn't stop there. She flew Jenna and her family all the way from Florida to Washington, D.C. to watch the Spirit take on the Chicago Red Stars after connecting with the team through a TikTok live session. The bond between the two has only grown stronger. They have since teamed up on a TikTok, keeping the tradition alive. And to cap off the unforgettable day, Rodman gifted Jenna her game-worn clits, a keepsake to remember not just the match, but the mentor who reminded her why she loves the game. For Jenna, the day wasn't just about soccer. It was proof that heroes on the field can also be mentors and friends of it. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
In today's showbiz news, after a 9-year hiatus, the girl group from the 2012 season of The X Factor finally reunited at the Jonas Brothers concert on August 31st. Fans were quick to react to the reunion. Meanwhile, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson delivers an undeniably Oscar-worthy performance in his new film, which premiered today at the Venice Film Festival. Stella Maurice brings us more of this showbiz news.
Fifth Harmony delivered a surprise performance that left fans stunned during the Jonas Brothers concert in Dallas on August 31. The venue erupted in cheers as the group, despite being on hiatus for several years, showcased their signature talent and powerhouse vocals, proving they haven't missed a beat. Now performing as a quartet, Ali Brooke, Dinah Jane, Lauren Jarigay, and Normani took the stage with electrifying renditions of their iconic hits, Worth It and Work From Home. Following the performance, the members took to Instagram to thank the Jonas Brothers for having them at the concert, sharing their excitement and gratitude for the reunion. The girl group originally disbanded after former member Camila Cabello left in 2016 to pursue a solo music career. While Camila was not present at the reunion, she has remained vocal about her love and support for the group through the years. Fans, along with the remaining members, were saddened by the split at the time, releasing a heartfelt message on social media in 2016 before officially announcing their hiatus. Could this be a sign of an official comeback? While nothing has been confirmed yet, fans are buzzing with excitement and are more than ready to welcome the quartet back with open arms. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stuns critics with Oscar-worthy performance in The Smashing Machine premiere at Venice Film Festival. A powerful and emotional performance shook the Venice Film Festival today as The Smashing Machine officially premiered with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson delivering what many are calling a career-defining Oscar-worthy role. Johnson takes on the role of Mark Kerr, a legendary mixed martial arts fighter and wrestling champion, best known for his dominance in early MMA history, particularly in the Pride Fighting Championships and UFC during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Known as one of the sport's most intriguing early stars, Kerr's story is one of both triumph and tragedy. The Smashing Machine is inspired by the 2002 HBO documentary about Kerr's life, highlighting not just his victories in the ring, but also the intense personal struggles that came with fame and physical punishment. In stark contrast to his usual strongman image, Johnson portrays a deeply vulnerable side of Kerr, who at the height of his career battled a devastating addiction to painkillers just to endure the constant injuries and emotional toll. The film also explores the darker side of MMA during that era, including the lack of mental health and medical support for fighters. Joining Johnson in the film is award-winning actress Emily Blunt, who plays Dawn Staples, Kerr's wife. The cast also includes Ryan Bader, Buzz Rutten, and Alexander Yuzik in notable supporting roles. The Smashing Machine is set for a release on October 3, 2025. This is Stella Maurice, your citizen correspondent, reporting for SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the song. It is also wise for leaders to consider ascribing the glory to whom power belongs, never to himself. Rulers are to be honored as a man and never to be worshipped as a god. Edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Faith Agustin. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.